All right, everybody, welcome back to my channel. Tammy Talks here. Love is Blind, Season 4, Episode 7. We are back. Kwame was not on the phone with anybody. I'm going to tell you that now. Jackie, girl. Girl. But before we get into all of that, if you are brand new to my channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. If you are coming back from watching me a couple times before with Love is Blind, go ahead, hit that subscribe button, y'all. Let's get into the video. So, it starts off where the last one left off with Chelsea and Kwame. So remember I told y'all that Chelsea was making it seem as if her daddy was like low-key racist with the way that she was so shocked that her father, or that when she was nervous that her father was going to accept Kwame. So her dad came in and he was making direct eye contact with her, but he did keep like glancing over at Kwame a little bit. So basically she was like, I went into this process, met somebody, Kwame here, he proposed to me, and I'm engaged. Her dad was excited for her. He stood up, gave her hugs, and it's amazing. Shook Kwame's hand, like he's excited for the both of them. So she said that she's shocked that her dad was excited. Why? I can't let this go, y'all. Why are you excited that your dad is accepting of your black boyfriend? Why are you shocked about that? So Kwame asks for her dad's blessing, and he does get it. So her dad does tell him that she is a lot. So get ready. So we get Paul and Micah. So Paul's mother is in town from New Orleans, and he wants her to meet Micah. So he told her Micah's name and stuff, but he didn't tell her anything about her, probably personality, whatever, because he wanted her to make her own judgment. He didn't want her to come in with a preconceived notion of her. So Micah tells his mom that they have matching hair. I said, do y'all, Micah? Because it looked like you are dyeing your hair. You are not a natural blonde. But like I said in the last video, Micah is almost more likable when Irina's not around. So Micah's mom said that she did a deep dive on her. So she got on Facebook when she got her name, looked her up, know her mama, her daddy, all this stuff about her. And Micah was looking like, okay, you just told all my family's business. You just told all our business on network, on Netflix television. But they got along really, really good. And Micah said that the reason that her and Paul get along so well is because he's marrying his mom. Girl, that is nothing to be proud of or brag about. Just, okay? Nothing. So we get Brett and Tiffany. We are looking at Brett's apartment. It looks nice. It looks really nice. I expected nothing less from Brett. Everything is like kind of techie. He has, like the Oculus sitting out, and he has his, I think that was Xbox controllers. His house is just very clean and open and inviting, and I will feel comfortable there, okay? So they're looking at Brett's apartment because Tiffany has a roommate. Brett lives by himself. So she would be moving in with him. So it's to come in, get a feel for it, see what you like about it, what you don't like about it, whatever. So she's going through and she's concerned about space because he only has the 2 closets in the apartment. So he told her he's willing to move to a 2 or 3 bedroom. If, you like the building, you want to stay in here, we can definitely move on up to a bigger apartment. Tiffany seems nervous, and I think it's because she's really waiting for the other shoe to drop. Tiffany is waiting on something to go wrong. She's waiting on Brett to not be as, not as good as it's seeming. She thinks it's too good to be true. And she's waiting for something else to happen. And I just want Tiffany to kind of relax because her face is always of, I don't know, that sounds too good. Like, you're willing to move. I don't know. That sounds too good to be true. You know what I mean? So we thinking Bliss and Zach, and I cringe and roll my eyes at every single one of their scenes. I don't care, y'all. I can't help it. So she's over at his apartment, and they're having dinner. They're having dinner together. So he is trying to sous vide some steaks, and he messes them up. Why were you doing it? I understand why people do a sous vide on their steaks and on their fish and stuff like that. I use a good old cast iron skillet, and I make a bomb steak. So They ended up messing it up, but he had like some shrimp and everything else that he cooked looked really, really good. So they're excited about that. They're sitting down for dinner, and he was like, at least we have each other, even if we don't have the steak. And she was like, yeah, we'll see. So Bliss keeps saying that, but Bliss likes this man. She likes him. Um, she likes him. She's probably disappointed he didn't pick her, but you can tell that she's very content and happy that they are now meeting and hanging out together. So he said that he keeps telling her, I want you to see my bedroom. That'll show you my bedroom. And she was like, ooh. But he was like, no, no, because I have like this motion music that sounds when you open a door. He was like, so for you, I had Harry Potter and I wanted Harry Potter to play. She's okay with that because, they have a lot of similar interests. Irina would have clowned your ass for that, Zach. I hope you know. I hope you know she would have clowned you for that. But Bliss seems like she was like smitten, not smitten by it, but she was like low key excited about it. She was intrigued by it. So she then told him that he only gets one fuck up, and that was by proposing to another girl. And then he's just like, oh. Like he always kind of looks like, why she keep bringing it up? Like he always looks like embarrassed or ashamed or like super sad that she's pointing it out. And she told him, look, it's not normal to hang out with somebody that dumped you and then proposed to somebody else and then broke up with them and now they're back to you. So he keeps looking like deflated and she's like, look, I am going to keep bringing that up. I have to give you a hard time about this. We're not just going to brush this under the rug. So she said that she's very guarded in her confessional, but she can't deny the chemistry that they have in person as well. So they then dance around the kitchen, and then Bliss says that she does believe that you can fall in love with someone without actually seeing them. I don't like this scenario just because I want Bliss to be with somebody that wants her first. I don't want you to be with somebody that proposed to somebody else and was like, yeah, that was the wrong person. I should have picked you in the first place. I don't like that. I just don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. So we then go over to Kwame's nasty ass apartment. Disgusting. I'm embarrassed for him. But that's how you know somebody don't really like you because you couldn't even be bothered to clean up. You couldn't be bothered to clean up for her. So he lives in Portland, Oregon, we found out, which is about I think like 2.5 hours away from Seattle. So he then points out that he never sleeps in his bed. He always just sleeps on the couch. It is shit everywhere. It is shit. Look at this picture. It is just shit everywhere in his apartment. His clothes on the floor, just stuff all over. So she was saying how she thought the mess would bother her, but it really doesn't. Because it's giving desperate, Chelsea, to be real. It's giving a little thirsty on your part. So she says in her confessional that she thinks that they are going to move to Seattle. So they have a conversation where Kwame has this like really nice view. He said he loves living in Portland. It's a beautiful city. And he's asking her, could she ever see herself living there? And she was like, no. So she says she doesn't want to move to she doesn't want to move from Seattle because her family is there, her job is there. She said most importantly, she does not work remotely, he does. So it makes more sense for him to come to Seattle. That is going to be the deciding factor for the two of them. That's going to be the deciding factor for the two of them. She didn't even want to consider or think about moving to Portland. It was basically, no, my whole life is in Seattle, so you're going to move to Seattle too. Kwame, on the other hand, said that he doesn't have friends in Seattle. He doesn't know anybody there. Why did you audition for Love is Blind Seattle then? Why did you audition for Love is Blind Seattle? Why wouldn't you... So he said he plays soccer in Portland 4 times a week. He has a running path. He runs the same path every single day. You can get a new running path. So that's replaceable. But him having his friends, his life, his soccer team or club or whatever he's doing, That, like, you shouldn't have to completely uproot your life because she doesn't want to make any compromises either. So he feels like he doesn't want to, do too much compromising for her. And I agree. The fact that it wasn't even a conversation with her, it's like, no, we're gonna set down roots in Seattle. You don't get to make that determination. That's a conversation, Chelsea. You don't just get to tell him that. So we get to Jackie and Marshall, and she is going to break Marshall down. Ugh, I can't. I don't like it. So Marshall is cooking, like warming up queso and different things for his family. His brother, I'm sorry, his sister, and I would say that was his sister's husband. I don't think that was his brother. Are coming over with their daughter. So Jackie is stressed. And she was like, I'm stressed out. I'm stressed out. I don't know if I can do this. And so he's like, okay, well, do you want me to? I can go take a walk around the block to give you some time so you can, unwind. He said, because I want you to be in a comfortable headspace while you're meeting my family. She was like, I am in one. Girl, no, you aren't. You aren't. If you're stressed, you're not in a comfortable headspace. So she then tells him that his energy is stressing her out. So he's like, well, I'll just go have a Coke and a smile. She's like, yeah, go do that. Have a Coke and a smile. Now, I know that a lot of y'all put in the comments that Jackie's father has cancer. Her brother is getting out of jail. So she is stressed about the financial burden that puts on her, okay? But if that's the case, then Jackie, you should have sat and got yourself together and got yourself set up with your family and the changes that y'all are going through before, coming into this scenario and then putting all this stuff on Marshall is not fair. It's not fair. So she keeps saying that she has a lot of thinking to do. She then goes on to say that her family isn't with her 100% about this. So she says she wants to make sure that her family is good because her decision is going to impact that. So she wants to make sure that she does not hurt the people that she loves. So my thing is, so you're basically saying, I don't give a damn about you, Marshall. I want to make sure that my family isn't affected by this at all. And I felt like that was such a slight to him. The way that she said it was so rude. Oh, that was so rude to him. So she said she can't keep living for her family and not her own life. Her mom wasn't happy with her doing the experiment. Her mom is not the happiest with her getting engaged in this manner. My whole thing with this is there are so many people on Love is Blind who don't tell their parents that they're doing this scenario, that don't tell their family that they're going to be doing this. And I guess I don't understand why. Everybody here is an adult. If I decide today that after watching these first 4 seasons, I want to go on Love is Blind, I'm going to tell my parents, I'm going to tell my brother, I'm going to tell my sister-in-law, I think I'm going to go ahead and do this. It's a possibility. I could come back engaged, or maybe, you know what, I could come back and nothing will have changed. But I don't understand the purpose of hiding it and then springing it on your family and then wondering why they're fucking irritated and upset with you because you just went and got engaged to a stranger and they had no idea that was a possibility. Something about Jackie, it's giving, not that she's worried about this. Jackie does not like Marshall. Jackie feels that she might have made the wrong decision by picking Marshall. That's what's going on there. So Marshall's sister and her husband come over, and Marshall is so excited to see his niece. You can tell that he has a really good relationship with them. And he said that he knew it was Jackie from day one. Like, she got her back in, she got him back into doing poetry and tapping into his creative side. He said that it was her or nothing. Now, isn't that interesting? Because Marshall had a fucking fit when Josh said the same thing. All right, y'all. So Jackie is kind of looking at him every time he talks, kind of like, ugh. I think Marshall is too sensitive for her. I think she wants a more aggressive type guy. She wants a more, like, I want to say almost toxic masculine guy. That's what she wants. So she said that he calms her down, Marshall calms her down and gives her the space that she needs to truly like be herself and relax more. So they both agree that love is truly blind. So then we get Paul and Micah at Paul's house. Why does he have two couches? He said one came from Craigslist and this one came from the curb. I'm sorry, but white men be living so nasty unnecessarily. Why you want a couch that you found on the curb? I just don't. Okay. So he has knives like positioned all over. Micah is like, what are you expecting to happen? So she's looking around at his space and she's like, it's all these different colored woods and shit. Like, I'm going to be his fiance and his stylist. So we're going into his bedroom and he keeps all the clothes that he wears the most on top of the dresser. She was like, so you put it on top of the dresser, you don't want to put it in the dresser. So she then pulls out this suit out of his closet, and the way that she was cackling, Micah is more likable outside of Irina. She's not terrible yet. And I'm saying yet because I saw that preview, and we know that she's gonna meet back up with Kwame. So in these couple scenes, these past couple scenes, she has not been terrible. So he then asked her if she could see herself living in his apartment. And she was like, if we stay in Seattle long term, no. She said, we have this place, my place, and then my place in Arizona that she goes back and forth. So she kind of wants to bounce between Seattle and Arizona. And then by doing that, she wants to do that in his house. I mean, in her two apartments. He said, no, don't want to do that. He was like joking, but I'm not. He doesn't want to give up his life and start, going back and forth with her. I think they both do work remotely 100%, but he doesn't want to do that. So she's in her confessional and she's like, I think he's writing off Arizona too fast. She has a place in both. She wants to continue to live in both. So Kwame sits up here and lies to Chelsea and to us about being on the phone. So Kwame tells Chelsea he has not talked to his mother. Okay? He said he's been calling her. He doesn't know if she knows that he's like engaged or whatever, and she just doesn't want to talk to him. He doesn't know. So he's like, I'm going to call her now, and he thinks that everything will be okay with her, but he's not entirely sure. Chelsea is like, can I talk to your mom? He's like, you want to talk to my mom? Didn't you just meet her dad? Didn't you just meet her father? Why would you be shocked that your fiance wants to talk to your mother? So he's like, I think this first one should just be me. I agree. It should just be him. So he calls his mom. Now, I don't know if his mother did not sign in a waiver or an agreement to be on camera, and that's why we don't hear the other side of the conversation. But the way that he was responding so quickly and so monotonely, Kwame wasn't on the phone with anybody. You cannot pay me to believe that he was. You cannot. So he's talking to his mom, and he's like, "So I want to let you know that I'm engaged. I met a woman. Her name is Chelsea, and I'm engaged to her." "Oh, you're mad. I understand you're upset." And I'm like, the fuck is going on here? The conversation, it just didn't sound like a natural flow of conversation. It didn't. I don't think Kwame was on the phone in this particular scene. Could it have been a reenactment because his mama went apeshit on the phone? It could have. It very well could have. But in this particular scene, that man was not on the phone, and you cannot pay me to believe that he was. So he then comes out and tells her that my mom's not happy, but I told her, I make my own choices. And I said, that's not what you told your mama. We just heard what you said. We just heard you. We just heard what you said. I don't think Kwame wants to introduce Chelsea to his mom because I don't think Kwame wants to be with Chelsea. One, because he's pining over Micah. And two, because now she wants him to uproot his life and move to Seattle. But you shouldn't have auditioned for a show in Seattle if you weren't serious or willing to move there. Point blank period. Point blank period. Kwame gets absolutely no sympathy for me. So Brett and Tiffany are back at their house, and she's cooking. And he's like, who did you learn to cook? How did you learn to cook? She was like, Food Network. She was like, and my mom. So she's asking him if he feels like overextended with everything going on. And he said no, he's a very simple, calm guy. And she was like, simple. And he was like, you made a face. And she said, yeah, I have been to your apartment. You got some stuff up in there. Nothing about you gives simple. So she asked him what is the most expensive thing he has. And he was like, yeah, I've spent some money on stuff. He was like, most expensive. He said, well, outside of like tech stuff, because that's going to be expensive, he said he has some $1,200 luggage. I said, oh, so he probably has like some Louis or MCM luggage or something like that. Goyard or something like that. And she is like, what? He was like, it's an investment. It's going to last. And she's like, for that price, it is. I think that Brett is a person that's very intentional with what he spends. Spending $1,200 on a piece of luggage is not crazy to me. I mean, my luggage isn't. My luggage isn't $1,200. But if you're somebody that travels a lot and you can afford it, that's an investment. That's an investment. So she then said that she's not going to be in his pockets. She said, I'm not worried about what you spend your money on as long as you have like some type of budget and bills are getting paid. Her main thing is as long as you're not spending the rent money out buying some stuff, whatever you buy is what you buy because she wants the same respect. She doesn't want somebody in her pocket worrying about what she buys. So Brett said that he's okay with the 75 split. He said if you want him to take care of the rent, he has no problem covering the rent. That's not an issue for him. He said, but if she feels more comfortable with 75-25, 60-40, like whatever she wants to do, he's okay with. He said, but he doesn't want to get into a scenario where they're paying a bill and then Venmoing each other to cover that half of it. If I'm going to pay the rent, I'm going to pay the rent. If you're going to pay internet and cable, then you're going to pay internet and cable. But it's not going to be like, okay, so you owe me $56.75 because, that was what half of the grocery bill this month. That was his thinking. She agrees. So they are having the conversations that need to be had, okay? He then tells her, you burning something up in here. She opens the stove and the damn pot almost comes out and spills everywhere. Tiffany's not much of a cooker. And that's okay. That's okay. Not much of a chef. Perfectly fine, girl. So then we get this last scene with Bliss and Zach. Why are they hanging out again? I don't like it. So Bliss and Zach are out on the yacht, and every time we see Zach, he is eating. And I'm thinking, y'all are sitting real close, and you are slamming that pepperoni, but whatever. So they're talking about fruits and rating fruits, and they are both boring nerds together. So they're good together. I'll say that. So she has on this hat. Well, it's hat on the visor. And he tells her that her hat is a kiss guard. So she takes the hat off. He leans in to kiss her. It was awkward. I didn't really like it. She didn't really seem into it. So he then asks her, if you could meet one person, who would you pick? She was like, dead or alive? He was like, dead or alive. She picks Oprah. He then says he would want to meet her parents. I was like, boo, tomato, tomato. It was so corny. So he did that so that he can sit down. He opens the ring box and we are to assume he proposes. And I was like, I'm not excited by it. I'm just not. But let me know what you guys think down below and I will be back for episode 8.